I want to tell you a story about the ripple effect of obedience and what it can do in your life. A handful of years back, I went to a place called Ark Encounter. It's near Cincinnati, Ohio. It's actually over the state line in the state of Kentucky. And if you don't know what it is, they have built a true to life-size replica of Noah's Ark. They opened up the Bible, they read what God had told Noah to build, and they built a big boat that is that tall and wide and high and all the things, and you can actually walk through it and see it for yourself. And when you stand in front of that big boat, it just brings to life that story that you've always heard and been told growing up. And it opened my eyes to Noah's obedience. That was the thing I kept thinking about as I was walking around, was Noah obeyed. Like, he was so convinced that he had heard God speak to him that he actually went and did the thing that he felt like God was telling him to do. And, he gathered up the wood and the tools and the ladder and the scaffolding and all the things, like whatever that looked like in the Home Depot of Bible times. Noah went to work and gathered up the things, and he built this ark. And I kept thinking about Noah's obedience. The fact that you and I are having this conversation right now is ultimately because he obeyed. As I got back in the car, drove home to Nashville, I just kept thinking about his obedience. And if I'm honest, I was in a season in life where there were some things that I knew that God was highlighting to me, this act of obedience, because he was inviting me to take a step of faith and to go on a journey and take my own walk of obedience. See, my day job is to write songs and record songs and make music for kids in churches. I make videos for those songs. They're used in churches around the world. And I had wanted to make a new music project, and honestly, it was one of those things that had moved from one to-do list to another to-do list for a couple of years. I thought I had a really good reason as to why I was procrastinating it and not doing it, and that was that I didn't have all the money in the bank that I needed to make it happen, and so I kind of kept putting it off. But I knew that God was highlighting to me Noah's obedience, because he wanted me to take a step of faith. And so I went to work. I started sending emails and making phone calls, and honestly, I thought it doesn't take any money to actually finish up all my song ideas, and so I took my voice memos and the notes on my phone and finished up all those ideas and got the songs ready to record. I put dates on the calendar at the recording studio and went to work on that process of actually recording the music. It was really just the money that was needed for the videos that I didn't have. And so I remember sending the emails and getting the contract ready even with my video producer. It was going to be about a 9-month process of them making all the videos that were needed for those songs. And I had peace that I was supposed to do it. Now, I don't recommend signing yourself up to spend money that you don't have, but I felt it was something that God was inviting me to do. And so I started this process and put it out there that I was raising money for this particular project even. And, it was really simple, ordinary amounts. It was $25 here, $25 there, nothing that you really thought was going to move the needle that significantly and what I needed for the project. But I can tell you that every single month when it came time to write that check, I had what I needed. Fast forward to the very end of the project, and there was still about $20,000 that I needed to complete the deficit of the project. I received a phone call from someone who had been a longtime family friend. He had seen my post that I had been making for months at this point, raising money to go towards this project. And he called and told me that he knew that God had told him to help me finish the project and to give towards it. He asked exactly how much I needed and what was left, and told me he was going to put a check in the mail the very next day. And in that one phone call, on that one afternoon, suddenly, I had every single thing that I needed, and the project would be finished. So around this same time, I had flown out to Colorado for the funeral of a different family friend. Now, kind of interesting, most everyone at this funeral was someone that this man had impacted. It was someone, it was people that he had given opportunities to, stages to perform on, just chances over and over throughout the years to use their gifts and their talents and abilities to do the thing that God had put them on this earth to do. And everyone there had been impacted by this person that had passed away. I remember sitting in the Denver airport that evening and typing into my phone for the very first time. The ripple effect of your obedience goes farther than you could ever imagine. See, there's other people on the other side of your obedience. On the other side of your yes, there's people that are going to be impacted. And I believe that there's things that God is going to ask every single one of us to do throughout our life. Sometimes it's small things, seemingly insignificant things. Sometimes it's big stuff, kind of like building an ark. It might be big steps of faith, like stepping into a project like I was doing in that moment. It might be really ordinary things that God might ask you to do, just kind of like smile at that person, you know, help your neighbor take their trash out or do some yard work. Like sometimes it's really things that seem so insignificant and small that we kind of brush it off as to not important. But I believe every single one of those times that we experience that nudge, we have that thought, we hear God speaking to us, there are people on the other side of our act of obedience. This project that I've been telling you about was for an album called Ready, Set, Go. The very next year, I ended up winning the biggest award that I'd ever won in my career. It's a Dove Award, which is like a Christian music Grammy. And it was a moment where it truly felt like God was throwing confetti down from heaven to say, you did the thing that I told you to do, and now let me give you a desire that's in your heart. See, in many ways, winning a Dove had fallen off my radar. I'm an independent artist. I make music for kids. There's a lot of things that are not glamorous about it. And this was a miracle situation. It was my David and Goliath story. And it truly felt like a cherry on top moment. One of the songs that I had the idea for this project was Ready, Set, Go. Now, I originally thought this song would just be about that Bible verse that you probably have heard before, about running our race towards the prize. But after going to Ark Encounter, after learning this about Noah's obedience, I realized that although it's important to talk about finishing our race well, I'm pretty convinced there's a lot of us that are living on the earth that aren't even starting the race that God put us on this earth to run. And so you can't finish a race that you haven't even started. As I sat down to write the song Ready, Set, Go, it ended up taking on a totally different kind of theme and meaning than I thought it would originally. It's all about us walking in obedience, listening to God's voice, and doing the thing that He's told us to do. Along the way, I became pretty obsessed with checkerboard pattern. I have it on clothes, I have it on jewelry, I have it on shoes, all sorts of things. In this day and age, you can see a checkerboard pattern in so many places, whether it be a pair of Vans, whether it is on a gas station or a race car flag, or just in a local store when you're shopping. You see a checkerboard pattern just about everywhere you go. And I have a challenge for you. From this day forward, I want, when you see the checkerboard pattern, for you to think about this conversation, for you to remember my story, and for you to think about the fact that your obedience matters to God. I'm not the same person that I was before I started this project. I'm not the same Christian that I was before I took this step of obedience. I'm not the same wife, mom, or friend. This project, this act of obedience, it changed my life. Back when I was a teenager, my dad worked for Willie George Ministries. It was a place that had made a lot of TV shows for kids and students in the 80s and 90s, and some of the first CCM music videos were made by them, and in particular, a director named Stephen Yake. They had won the Dove Award for short form music video of the year at the 21st annual Dove Awards in a song called I Miss the Way by Michael W. Smith. Fast forward a number of years later, and they were cleaning up some sets and different things, and one of my dad's coworkers walked in with the Dove Award and sent it home with my dad. He said, "Hey, take this home to Yancy," because everyone in my life at that point knew that I had a dream one day to do music. For the next 24 years of my life, that Dove brought me joy. It did inspire me to keep going. I, eventually became my own songwriter and artist, and year after year went by decade went on. Somewhere along the way, though, I think in many ways, I became a little bit complacent, satisfied, and content with that Dove Award that truly belonged to someone else. I was in the middle of this project that I've been sharing with you when one day I saw a Facebook post by that director named Stephen Yake. He actually shared the music video with a link and commented that he had won his very first Dove Award for that video. And I remember commenting in the comments to him, "Hey, I actually have that Dove Award," which he responded was like, "Well, when I moved to Nashville, I left it behind because I actually worked for the organization." I commented to him, "Send me your address. I'm happy to send it to you to have." So the very next day, I took one last picture, boxed it up, and shipped it off to Stephen Yake. Fast forward a couple more years, and in the earliest moments of me having won my first Dove Award, God highlighted to me the significance of this story and this exchange that had taken place. See, I believe in many ways I'd become satisfied, complacent, content to just have someone else's dream. And God highlighted to me the exchange that had taken place and its significance in both my physical and spiritual part of this journey. I could also back up and tell you that this whole story started with an act of forgiveness. See, I had laid down some hurts and some wrongs that had been done to me. And literally 3 weeks later, I went to the Ark. I believe it opened the door for me to have this revelation of Noah's obedience. One of the things I love about God's stories is just the layers that are to them. It's just like an onion. There's layer upon layer upon layer. And when I reflect on this story from my life, I see how one thing led to another thing, led to another thing, led to another thing, and it's all connected. I just want to remind you that God is in the details. Your obedience matters to Him. Always be listening for His voice, and never forget the ripple effect of your obedience goes farther than you could ever imagine.